Madinah Institute for Leadership and Entrepreneurship, MILE.
Well, thank you very much, and good afternoon. And the only question I have is, how do I click through the PowerPoint? Thank you for the opportunity, and, well, here we go. I'm truly excited to be presenting to you our latest leadership program, recognizing human leaders, communicate visions, influence growth, and inspire results. We have made this presentation very simple. All you have to do is to make sure that you have something to write with and take notes, and please save your questions to the end. We will be having a Q&A section after the information has been delivered. So with this said, hope you're ready. Let's go. You must stand for something or fall for everything. Establishing a clear set of values is essential when you are in charge of any business. You must have target vision, communicate, and not overcomplicate your goals. The goal for any leader of any business is to build a successful team of leaders who are committed to the organization. Any great company in the world must instill a clear set of systems that allow efficiency and completions of assignments. I will be also presenting techniques on how to maintain consistency and enable leaders to condition their teams to build solid relationships that benefit the bottom line. Execution of goals is essential to the growth of every great leader. Then understanding how to deliver rewards and demonstrate immense appreciation for your team's effort and successes. So as we start out, the first step is to establish a clear set of values. We can do this by understanding your organization's limits, develop core values, and understanding your niche. So when we're talking about understanding your organization limits, you need to understand several things. You can't do it alone. Leadership is not a solo act. In order to qualify as a leader, there must be people to be led. Leadership is a team sport. You can't solve every problem. You need the insight of others. You can't force people to follow. Realize that not everyone is going to follow your lead, your decision, your ideas, and your path. Then we need a look at developing core values. Have you established them? Do you refer back to them often? Are they currently with today's market? Core ideology provides the glue that holds an organization together. Core values help companies in the decision-making processes. For example, if one of your core values is to stand behind the quality of your products, any products not reaching the satisfactory standards are automatically eliminated. To make core values and strategies relevant, it is crucial that they are embraced by senior leadership and regularly and clearly communicated throughout all levels of the organization. Next is understanding your niche. What are the norms of the culture in your organization? Understanding the market's hot buttons and be prepared to communicate with the target group as an understanding member, not an outsider. In addition to launching a unique campaign for the new niche, you may need to alter more basic elements, such as your company's slogan, if it translates poorly in other languages. Leaders don't force people to follow. They invite them on a journey. Number two, so now we're going to address how to effectively communicate your visions. So we need to have our teams recite the mission statement and really stand behind it. But that only happens when you understand it and believe in it. Don't overcomplicate things. But we must be aware to stay on target. So if you're not using your mission statement to start off your staff meeting, the time is now to bake it in. It's great when you can have your staff recite from the mission statement at any time. Compelling visions can inspire. They foster commitment, meaning, and a sense of belonging. And when added to practices that encourage positive interactions, that can motivate high levels of performance. Describe in the annual report how you are using the vision statement to drive the organization forward, and provide stories that illustrate walking the talk. Embed the key elements of the vision statement into the performance management framework of staff, especially senior leadership. Ensure that all new projects specifically address the key elements of the vision statement. We all like things that are straightforward. When the right decision is clear and we don't have to fight with too many variables, there must be one specific person who has the final say, and that person must be in the meeting. Sometimes we feel like the simple ideas aren't good enough, like we need to add a few more layers to prove our worth. But great ideas don't have to be complicated. In fact, some of the most viral ideas, the kind that spread, are as simple as ever. Think about the pink ribbons we use to symbolize breast cancer awareness, or the popularity of the like button on Facebook. In order to stay on target, sometimes encouragement is needed. Using online polls and surveys may help your company collect feedback and learn how it can bolster its interactions with clients. Examining the competition is helpful, as this allows you to understand how rivals meet customers' needs. Repeating positive affirmations often can help a business maintain a positive outlook. He who learns to obey will know how to command. Now it's time to look if we are building a true team of leaders. To do this, we need to get involved with all levels of staff, create team enthusiasm, and remember, they are like family. In order for us to get more involved with all levels of staff, I recommend using a technique to remember a lot of their names. Maybe offer limited types of mentorship for those that stand out in their departments or roles. Research indicates that employees who experience mentoring are retained, learn more quickly, and assimilate into the company's culture more effectively. We have also learned this improves staff retention rates and team relations. But best of all, it helps to increase profits, to improve performance, productivity, and foster innovative ideas. In creating a team enthusiasm, employees want to feel valued and know that their contribution makes a difference. Really making a difference requires a concerted focus on your culture and the partnership between you and your employees. Keep in mind that your company's reputation within your industry can be a mega motivational factor for your existing employees. Building and sustaining a best-in-class reputation means identifying and measuring behaviors that consistently deliver a positive client experience, and it's normal for good workers to want to be part of a winning and respected team. We generally spend so much time with our staff and team members than we do with our own families. So in essence, they are really like family to us. Establishing a great place to work is one where employees trust the people they work for, have pride in what they do, and enjoy the company of the people they work with. Your team must feel comfortable, have a good time, grow, and be able to support each other. So if you want family loyalty, it starts at the top. A successful business is one that makes a difference to others, people's lives. So now we can talk about being committed to the organization. If you are not, then how can you expect others to be? A great way to get this started is to live the brand. And do not forget to always give back. Living the brand is key in all levels of your organization. If your employees aren't loyal to your brand, why should customers be loyal to it? You see, employees make the company tick and develop real connections with customers. Their ability and desire to deliver on the brand promise helps to elevate brand's perception in the mind of the customer, strengthens the brand's reputation, and contributes to its long-term success. Let your employees participate in your company's corporate social responsibility efforts and encourage them to launch efforts of their own. Encouraging employees to make a difference will also strengthen their connection with your brand. And people who don't buy in won't perform as well or accomplish as much as people who have a good sense of corporate missions, department goals, and how their personal efforts benefit not only the company, but themselves. When I say always give back, I'm speaking about trying to be in others' shoes, and encourage this amongst all staff in similar departments or with similar responsibilities. When your employees work together on a project that is not all about deadlines, they will develop greater compatibility and are more likely to meet those future deadlines without incident. Combining efforts in charitable activities brings people together to share their voice and work jointly for a greater impact in driving change. Obstacles are things a person sees when he takes his eyes off his goals. One of my favorites is to build systems for organizational goals. Here, we'll be addressing understanding the difference between price, quality, and service. How to avoid cutting corners and remaining organized. And of course, it's always important for you to encourage feedback. So if you understand the difference between price, quality, and service, then you can make a determination to which two you are willing to offer for your products or service. You see, the reason is you can't have all three. If you have the best price, then you definitely don't have the best quality or service. One that has to always give. So if you work on your quality and service, then price will not become an issue. About 1/3 of the customers are purely hung up on price, while the other 2/3 are open to at least hearing your argument. Keep in mind, innovators and early adapters are most likely to shell out the extra money. A lot of times, due to minimized budgets, we have the underlying desire to cut corners. Don't. It's better to maintain your level of service. People always feel the difference. It's better when you have a plan to anticipate problems and create solutions. Identify areas of concern and develop a response system. Even when certain actions seem obvious, make a note of the steps and approaches. What is intuitive to one person may not occur to another. By keeping close notes of all procedures, other members of the team will be able to understand the decision-making process and arrive at the appropriate results. Get it out of your head. Once all the operations are recorded, it is useful to have others review the material. Collaborate with a colleague or hire an outsider to develop a manual for communicating the company's operations. Someone who is not in the thick of the process may have a clear ability to convey the important ideas and share it. Once the operation manual is created, start by sharing it with members of the company. Make sure that all employees have easy access to the information. Posting the procedure on an intra-company website or distributing hard copies of the material will encourage employees to refer and follow the guidelines. As updates are made to the materials, have alerts sent to the appropriate parties so that everyone is up to date. And who does not like feedback? So I recommend you encourage it at all levels. Just let them know that you will get back to them when you can. A great method is to invite employees to complete a postcard with ideas. Have a monthly question to invite views, simulate discussions, and share key themes from the feedback. Or create days during which employees can come and talk to senior managers with any views or issues. You have no power at all if you do not exercise constant power. Consistency conditioning is detrimental to your leadership value. Most leaders have the biggest vision in the world, but sometimes our teams do not see the whole picture. So I recommend that you start small and then go big. Remember, when you maintain consistency, it helps you to establish your reputation as a reputable leader. When your team sees you're committed to the goal, it is easier for them to commit. Starting small requires a lot of learning. That easily happens along the way. And if the most pressing problems are always the ones being solved, make sure the best possible knowledge gets integrated into the system at every step of its growth. If not, then the system ends up going with and adapting to its environment as they change together instead of the system coming into existence that becomes bloated, rigid, and completely ill-suited to its environment. Building it big requires consistent overlooks and rehauls to make sure everything in essence is maintained and well-oiled. Strong, steady growth is what we're looking for. Your reputation can also hinder your growth or propel you to growth. Keep in mind, business growth requires a track record of success. You can establish a track record if you are constantly shifting gears or trying new tactics. Many efforts fail before they get to the finish line, but not because the tactic was flawed or the goals weren't clear. The problem is often that the team simply didn't stay on course to achieve the objective. So when you maintain a level of commitment to the goal, an employee is more likely to stay with the company if he understands the company's expectations of him and the contribution that his goals make to the company's strategic plan. The clearer the communication between the employee objectives and the company's objectives, the more likely the employee is to understand how their work affects the company's bottom line. In all things you consider the end. Setting priorities is sometimes one of the biggest hurdles we have on a day-to-day basis. So it is important to know the difference. Figure out how much time you need to spend on them and try to weed out the procrastination. Knowing the difference becomes imminent. So I recommend you sit down with your team and hammer out an outline containing the key points that each section of the plan will address. You may need more than one meeting to create your outline, but consider it time well spent. With the outline in hand, team members begin writing their parts with the knowledge of what each section should include and how the information relates to the other plan components. Understanding where your employees or team members are coming from, what their skills are, and what they are interested in achieving. Again, for me, it's key in really knowing your team. So once you begin working on the task, the first 20% of the time that you spend planning and organizing the resources necessary to achieve the task usually accounts for 80% of your success. In setting priorities, always focus on the first 20% of the task. Get on with it and get it done, because the next 80% will tend to flow smoothly once the first 20% is completed. All good business people know that any process related to executing a strategy around set priorities comes with challenges. So we must eliminate procrastination. Once you know what the challenges are, you can effectively plan to take each one of them down with alignment, priorities that speaks to those involved, and a vision for success. You can reach your goal. We can do anything we want to do if we stick to it long enough. After we have looked at things we need to become an effective leader, we have to be ready to meet commitments. So it is better to make sure that you are structured and can be defined and measured in ways that you do not make your team scratch their heads. Always give yourself a deadline. Be prepared to execute and take action immediately. Don't offer something you can't deliver. Instead, admit your fallibility and deliver on your promises. Integrity goes a long way. Many leaders make the mistake of revealing strategies and priorities in language that may work in the boardroom, but doesn't resonate with the troops. If people can't relate their jobs to what you're saying the company needs or what they can do to help, they will automatically disconnect. Giving yourself a deadline is crucial. If you stay lingering in a project, it can consume you and destroy your focus. And your team can cue in on this. Create your milestones and then verify with your team. Make sure it's one who understands the overall perspective of the company's goals and bottom line. Being at the top sometimes does not allow you to track the milestones, so create your deadlines with your team on board. Once you know what your brand stands for and promises, don't be afraid to flaunt it. See, you need to make sure everyone else believes you're the leader and the authority in your area of expertise and specialization. Whatever you do, don't meekly communicate your message. Execute them with passion. Say it with powerful words and conviction, and then take action. A leader should be slow to punish and swift to reward. And finally, we must demonstrate appreciation. There is nothing better than receiving a reward and being recognized for your efforts. Offering personal time, lunches, and asking them about their family can make all the difference in the world. It is also important that you give them training and growth opportunities. Building leaders in an organization is key to the growth of your achievement of your vision. In the moment, as much as possible, be timely. Catch people doing outstanding work and acknowledge them in their efforts. Recognition is most effective when it is given in the context of a larger goal or business result-focused activity. Random affirmations are much less meaningful than those tied to a business goal. An employee who lands a big contract by putting in the extra effort needs to know that you've noticed and understand the employee's effort to ensure business success. This matters. And of course, an extra bonus, a ticket to a theater, play, or vacation can make them want to raise their level of efforts when achieving milestones and completing tasks. Some leaders have an issue with proving personal time, like lunches with their team. But if you can't have them take some time every now and then to relieve stress and attend personal matters, it can hinder the focus on the job. The best way to give back to my team is to give them training and growth opportunities. You always want your team to have the latest industry information, techniques, products, and services. It's awesome when your team is keen and up to date. And finally, invest your developmental time and dollars into your top performers. That's a sure way to raise the bar, accelerate the growth of your strongest performers, and drive your organization to greater heights of success. I cannot lead people longer than they're willing to follow. I cannot lead people further than they're willing to go. I cannot lead people faster than they're willing to change. I cannot lead people higher than they're willing to climb. Well, that's the end of our presentation, and we're about to open up for questions and answers. However, you can see below that you can find us anywhere on the internet. Just look up Bert Oliva, which is my name, or BOWAworld, and connect with us. We want to hear your feedback, and we would love to do more work with you. And definitely also look, when you get an opportunity, go to BOWA.TV, where we have everything. We'll have a copy of this placed up there also. We have many programs, and we do keynotes, presentations, and seminars, and each one is different. So the one thing that we are known for is humanology, which is a scientific study of human potential. And our seminars are high energy and impact. It's a little different than doing a webinar over the phone. So Ali, I pass it to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bert Oliva, for a very interesting presentation. Folks, we are open for Q&A. Now, if you have any questions, you could either raise your hand. I'll give you an opportunity to speak to the speaker, or you could put your questions in the question box. So either please raise your hand, you can speak, or we can go to the question box. There's one short question already in the question box. How should we manage to communicate with the shy team members?
The best way to do that is one-on-one. Be able to actually find out who that person is. One of the things that we teach is about being able to know their modalities, whether it is visual, auditory, or kinesthetic, because sometimes you're trying to teach someone with your modality, and let's say you're visual and they're auditory, and you're telling them, look, let me show you something, and they're not seeing it. The reason is because they're auditory and they rather hear it. So that's a whole different training. However, the best way to do this is one-on-one, and also help them build up their confidence.
Very much. We have another one, short one. What are some of the challenges in the global village concept to manage communication on digital platforms?
What, can you repeat that question again, please?
I think, let me repeat it, let me go back. What are some of the challenges in the global village concept for managing communication on digital platforms?
To manage communication on digital platforms, there's so much now in the social world that one of the things I recommend is being able to do like video chatting, being able to communicate that they can see you, not just hear you. Even though the issue we're having right now, I really would have loved to have something that was more visual than just the PowerPoint, but due to the bandwidth, we're restricted. So the best way to do communication is to have, like what we're doing right now, what your company is doing is outstanding. Being able to have these presentations and being able to go back and be able to actually have these experts and connect with them. Not many companies doing that anymore. In fact, in our world, a lot of the companies are downsizing to the point that every employee has to go out there and find new resources versus what you guys are doing. So you're doing a great job.
We had so far only 2 questions, folks. If you have any other questions, either you can raise your hand. There's an opportunity to speak to Ms. Bert Oliva right now. It's a good opportunity. Or please post some more questions. Certainly it takes a little time for people. Yeah, please.
Ali, do you have any questions?
Do I have myself as a question? Well, I would like to know for myself if you could advise how to face the sort of the fear on the stage, you know, while encountering or in front of like people on the stage.
Well, it's been said, and I don't use this technique, but however, it's been said that the best way to get rid of your fear is to imagine everyone in the audience being naked. However, that's just something that people have talked over and over again. The best way is to start building it up. See, the most difficult presentation is doing a presentation to either people that you know or small groups. The larger the group, the easier the presentation. However, in our subconscious mind, we've been conditioned that the larger, the harder it is. So when you have a group of like 50, 60, 70 people, believe it or not, it becomes a lot easier. One of the things that I do is I take a deep breath and I exhale as far as I can, and at that moment your nerves will calm down. And when you step on that stage and you start speaking, within a couple of seconds, once you know your product or your service or what it is that you're presenting, you won't have that fear. Part of the fear comes with the lack of knowing. If you don't know what it is you're going to talk about, of course fear is going to come in. And also fear, keep in mind, is false expectations of being real. It's something that we create in our subconscious mind, and eventually we allow it to become real. So I hope I answered your question, but basically, you know, take a deep breath, as deep as you can take it, exhale as much as you can, and by the time that you're realizing you're already talking about your presentation, and the fear will go away. Also, remember to really study and know what it is you're speaking about.
Well, thank you very much. And let me move to another question we have from Brother Mahmoud Sharaf. The question is, in a matrix organization, what would you recommend in getting involved with all level of staff?
Break that down a little bit for me. What do you actually mean?
Well, Brother Sharaf, if you could rephrase it, but in the meantime, let me repeat the question. The question is, in a matrix organization, what would you recommend? I believe he's asking, what would you recommend in getting involved with all levels of staff in a matrix organization? Organization structure.
Yeah, the way I would really apply that is to set up goals. Different levels need different goals. It can't be one goal across the entire matrix because not everyone or every level needs the same outcome. So I really, truly back up 100% to have goals. Goals are extremely important, not only in your business, but also in your life. Even at home, we have to break it down. Depending on our children, our significant other, it's important. And then also make sure that you praise these goals when they come into existence. And also, depending on their talents, the goals should be a little bit towards what their talents are also. It would help that way.
Brother Sharaf has raised his hand, so let me see if he wants to actually have any supplementary. Brother Mahmoud Sharaf, I know you inserted the question, but now you raised your hand. Are you satisfied with the answer?
Yes, I believe, you know, all the concept is really valued to all organization. And as the question is, you know, in matrix where you have your organization have branches all over, you know, the country, and you really have, you know, different concepts at work. As you're saying that you'd like to brand your company and bring these goals and objectives closer to their vision and make sure that, you know, they are really targeting what the company is looking for. So, you know, all these values, I mean, is hard for the leader really to translate and to transmit all over, you know, all over the branches and over the country. So, you know, what would you recommend, you know, in taking this mission as a leader for your staff?
Well, number one, sir, it's very difficult because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Being in that position, leadership position, takes a lot of work. One of the things that I recommend is doing constant training and constant follow-up, and also making sure that the training is precise for that part of the matrix. And, you know, and then getting yourself building other leaders within the organization. Not leaders at the same level that you may be in, however, leaders within their matrix.
Okay, Brother Sharaf, thank you very much for your question. Now let me move to another question we have in the question box. Is it correct to say that your ability to perform is unrelated to your physical reaction? This is from Sister Sybil Sahin.
Absolutely not. Because if you're in front of an audience or a person or your team or staff, however you want to phrase it, they can read through your body language more than what it is you're saying. If you're concerned about something that you're about to launch, you may be talking a beautiful talk, but your body is saying otherwise, and they can feel that. We all have that sixth sense, and we can actually tell something is wrong. It sounded beautiful, the presentation was great, however, it didn't feel right. So you need to make sure that you not only are sold with what it is that you're presenting, but it's a part of you, because people can tell.
Okay, we have another one from Samir Sheikh. The question is, okay, sorry, the supplementary from the Sister Sahin on your answer is, so is incongruency is important or is an urgency important? I don't know if you got it correctly, Ms. Sahin. So let me move to another question from Mr. Samir Sheikh. It seems to be over-considering the staff personal issues rather than stretching them to their limits. How could that get the most of their abilities to the good of the corporate? Right. Did you get the answer? Or did you get the question?
Yeah, say it one more time.
Okay. It seems to be over-considering the staff personnel issues rather than stretching them to their limits. How could that get the most of their abilities to the good of the corporate?
Okay. Well, one of the things is don't ignore it, number one. Number two, I'm not saying that you have to focus on their personal. Just make sure that you don't forget about it, because there are human beings, and this personal is really important sometimes. However, they themselves don't know their limits. You may see potential in people, and most of the times you do see potential in people that they don't even see or believe they have. So what are their limits? The more you push them, the more their limits will increase. So the best bet is not really allowing them to believe that they've reached their limit. However, praise them, find out a little bit more about them, because people, believe it or not, all over the world, and I've traveled the world doing seminars, people love to do business with people that they feel close to. Now, not too close, because there's a thin line, and you don't want to mess up that thin line from being too friendly or too much of a leader or a business person. So just make sure that you find what's that good balance for you as a person, especially as a leader.
That really brings us towards the end of the webinar. I would like to thank you, Mr. Oliva, for a very interesting presentation. Any concluding remarks that you would like to give before we dismiss out?
No, I mean, I really am humbled and grateful for this opportunity. I've always wanted to go to Dubai, so this is my first step. I'm actually there. And having, working with you, Ali, has been an amazing experience. And I'm looking forward to maybe doing other presentations more towards the human potential aspect of, like, for example, body language, or neuro-linguistic programming in some sort of way. I kind of break it down pretty simple. However, again, thank you so much for the opportunity, and especially for BOWAworld.org and the participants. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and it would be really nice to have you again on the new topics as you mentioned. And thank you all of those who participated in this webinar. We really appreciate your time, and I have already sent on the chat box the link from where you can download the full copy of this presentation. So feel free to visit the community.mile.org to download the presentation. We are recording it, which will be uploaded in the next couple of days. So please stay tuned, and don't forget to visit hpho.mile.org. This is our upcoming flagship programs month of November for high-performance healthcare organizations. With that note, I'd like to end this. So you all have a good day, good afternoon.
Madinah Institute for Leadership and Entrepreneurship, MILE.